Welcome to the U.S. Embassy information session about the DV 2024 program instructions. Merci, bienvenue à cette session d'information sur la loterie américaine pour le programme 2024. Nous sommes ravis de vous avoir cet après-midi. Nous souhaitons déjà vous présenter nos sincères excuses parce que nous avons eu des problèmes techniques pour lancer la séance. Thank you for your patience as we had some technical problems to launch the session, and we're happy that you were able to join us this afternoon. So here with me, I have some specialists in the room who are here to respond to your inquiries. I have Amy Hawken, our Deputy Consular Chief, who is here by me. And I equally have our Vice Consul, Jeff Presnell, who are going to help us to better detail this process and make it simple for all of us. So thank you. I'm going to share a video now of some tips that you can use while you apply for the DV program. Thank you very much. Je vais juste faire un petit résumé de la vidéo en français. Nous savons que le Cameroun, c'est un pays bilingue, donc nous voulons que tout le monde ait la bonne information. Déjà, pour commencer, nous vous souhaitons que vous lisez bien les instructions parce que chaque programme de loterie a ses instructions. Donc, il y a les instructions de 2024, de l'année 2024 qui seront postées par mes collègues. Et nous avons également un seul site parce que d'ailleurs là-bas, il y a beaucoup de sites qui vous proposent des entrées, mais il y a un seul site officiel qui sera également partagé dans la partie réponse. Et nous avons également une entrée pour le programme dont le lien est bien spécifique et ça finit avec state.gov. Il n'y en a pas un autre. Il n'y en a pas un autre. Donc, faites attention. Nous avons également beaucoup de fraudeurs là-bas dehors, mais la loterie est gratuite. C'est à 0 francs, s'il vous plaît. Mais n'utilisez pas la photo que vous avez utilisée l'année passée. Utilisez une photo récente. Et il faut également soumettre une seule demande. Vous ne pourrez pas soumettre plusieurs demandes pour une personne, s'il vous plaît. Et nous avons également la condition où vous devez citer tous vos membres de famille légal. Si vous avez une épouse et des enfants ou un époux et des enfants ou des dépendants légaux, il faut la citer pendant la demande, s'il vous plaît, sinon vous risquez d'être disqualifié. Vous avez également un numéro de confirmation qui vous est donné à la fin de la soumission. Vous devez garder ce numéro jalousement parce que c'est avec ce numéro que vous allez accéder à la plateforme et vous allez pouvoir avoir vos résultats. Et les résultats seront disponibles en mai 2023. Il n'y en a pas une autre date de lancement des résultats. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention. Et je vais appeler à l'audience de, s'il vous plaît, notez vos questions et vos commentaires là où vous nous regardez à travers le Cameroun. Nous savons que nous avons l'audience de Boya, de Garoua, un peu de partout au Cameroun. Et nous allons maintenant procéder à certaines questions que nos internautes avaient à l'avance. So I want to ask the first question. So Amy, can you tell us the entrance to the DV program? I remember last year that you required a passport. Is it still valid? Is that requirement still valid for this year?
Great question. So this year, the rule has changed. You do not need a passport to enter the DV lottery any longer. So that is not a hindrance. Ce n'est pas nécessaire d'avoir un passeport pour jouer la loterie cette année.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Donc, la prochaine question, c'est de savoir quels sont les critères de sélection, quels sont les critères que une personne doit avoir, éducation et professionnelle, pour qualifier pour cette loterie américaine.
OK. Autre bonne question. Donc, il faut qu'avoir le bac ou you have to have at least 2 A levels achieved. C'est super difficile de qualifier pour la loterie avec votre travail. Normalement, c'est le même type de travail qu'une personne qui a fait l'université va avoir. Donc, it's very difficult to qualify for the lottery if you're trying to do so with your work, because typically it's the same level of work as someone who has already completed university. So it's very unusual to qualify based on your work. So we recommend you play if you are going to have or if you already have finished high school. So with your 2 A-level results or with the bac.
Okay, I think for the Cameroonians, they have 2 certificates, GCE, they have the ordinary level and the advanced level.
Yes.
So completion of high school. Thank you, Amy. And what is there a minimum age? We're gonna ask this question to our Vice Consul Jeff. Is there a minimum age which you need to play the DV program?
There's no minimum age. However, normally to graduate from high school, you normally need to be 18 years old. So that typically does end up disqualifying people based on age. So there is no actual age limit, but since you need to have a high school degree equivalent, that usually ends up being about a minimum age of 18 years old. Et pour répondre en français, il n'y a pas un âge nécessaire pour être qualifié pour les DV, mais il faudra avoir un diplôme de l'école secondaire. Alors, c'est pour ça que les gens qui ont moins de 18 ans sont typiquement disqualifiés de la loterie.
Merci, Jeff. Je vais renchérir en disant que il n'y a pas d'âge vraiment. Donc, c'est ouvert à tous les Camerounais. Maintenant, Jeff, s'il vous plaît, est-ce que nous pouvons savoir, pour ceux qui ont les membres de la famille, est-ce qu'ils doivent obligatoirement inclure leurs membres de famille? Et si quelqu'un se marie après avoir eu ses résultats, donc dans les 2 scénarios, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire?
Ça, c'est très, très, très important. C'est la raison principale que les gens sont disqualifiés de la loterie parce que les membres de la famille ne sont pas inclus dans leur demande. Alors, il faudra déclarer tous les membres de la famille. Et c'est permis de se marier après l'entrée de la loterie ou avoir un enfant à la loterie. Mais quand vous jouez, par exemple, actuellement, il faudra déclarer tous les membres de la famille. Même si vous n'habitez pas avec votre enfant ou avec votre époux, il faudra déclarer tous les membres de la famille. Aussi, vous ne devriez pas inclure les membres de la famille avec lesquels vous n'êtes pas légalement marié. Par exemple, si vous avez fait le mariage traditionnel, vous ne devriez pas inclure votre époux traditionnel dans votre demande parce que vous n'avez pas fait le mariage au cours. To clarify in English as well, it is extremely important to include all of the members of your family on the DV application. It doesn't matter if you are not living with them. It doesn't matter if you are separated from your partner. You must include all members of the family. And another mistake that we see sometimes is people include members of their family that they are only, or they include spouses that they are only traditionally married to. That is not recognized as a legal marriage under US law. So please only play with members of the family if you are legally married to them.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for giving that detailed explanation.
I wanted to add one more thing to that.
Go ahead.
Because also, it's not just legally married, but also a lot of times we'll see people include children that are not, maybe it's your niece or your nephew and they live with you, or a cousin or someone else that lives with you, and they're your child, but you have not legally adopted them. If you have not legally adopted the child, do not include the child as part of your DV entry. You can always legally adopt the child after, and it can be included later, but if you haven't legally adopted the child, don't include it. Si vous avez un enfant que vous n'avez pas adopté, ce n'est pas nécessaire. Il faut que n'incluez pas l'enfant dans votre entrée pour la loterie.
Thank you very much, Amy, for that clarification. So, when the person wins the DV lottery, how do they get notified that they have been selected for the program?
Great question. So what will happen is in May 2023, next year, there will be a website that you can go in and you'll put your confirmation number that you received when you entered, and you'll see if your entry was selected. And you'll see also, I believe, your rank number for your entry. Donc en français, quand en mai de 2023, vous pouvez voir votre numéro dans le numéro de confirmation dans le site pour le Diversity Visa, et vous pouvez voir si vous allez choisir pour la loterie.
D'accord, Amy. Ça veut dire qu'il n'y aura pas d'email qui sera envoyé, il n'y aura pas un appel téléphonique qui sera, et personne ne recevra un appel, et il n'y aura pas quelqu'un qui va poster une lettre. Ça sera seulement à travers le site avec laquelle vous avez fait votre entrée.
Ah.
Merci beaucoup.
Wow.
Parce que most of the times we see people receiving emails in the inbox, you have been selected many times, so please don't rely on that. That is a scam, that is a fraud. It's going to be, you have to type your confirmation number into the entrance site where you did the initial application, and you're going to find your results in that site.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification. So is there any cost? Is there any cost involved in applying for the DV lottery, Jeff?
So there is no fee required to play the lottery. Anyone is welcome to play the lottery. If you are selected for the lottery, if you win the lottery, and you find out online using the steps that Amy mentioned, then you will likely be called for an appointment at the embassy. Once you come to the embassy for your interview, then there will be a fee to pay, but do not pay any fees ahead of time. If someone is telling you to pay a fee for the lottery, then that is also a scam. So those are two key things to pay attention to. If you receive an email telling you that you won, or if someone is asking you to pay a fee to play the lottery, then that is a scam. And pour clarifier en français, il n'y a aucun frais à payer pour jouer la loterie. Si vous gagnez la loterie et vous venez à l'ambassade pour avoir un entretien, il faudra payer un frais pour les demandes. Mais au début, quand vous jouez, actuellement, il n'y a aucun frais à payer.
Merci beaucoup pour cette réponse-là. Donc, nous allons procéder à d'autres questions. Nous avons un internaute qui demande si je perds mon numéro de confirmation. Vous avez dit qu'il y a un numéro de confirmation, mais entre octobre et mai, il y a quand même une longue période. Si je perds mon numéro, comment savoir que je suis sélectionnée ou pas?
C'est pour moi ou pour Jeff?
Oui, vous pouvez aller, Amy.
OK. Bonne question. Donc, si le numéro est perdu, vous pouvez récupérer le numéro dans le même site pour le programme de diversité. Il y a une option pour récupérer le numéro. Ce n'est pas difficile, mais vous avez besoin d'avoir votre email pour faire ça.
D'accord.
Ce n'est pas difficile. You can recover your confirmation number if you lose it. You just need to make sure you still have your email address so that you can complete the recovery of your confirmation number.
Thank you very much, Amy. So we've had instances where people have let others play for them. So what do you recommend? Should people play themselves? Should they let others play for them? And if they do, what should they keep in mind? Jeff?
You want Jeff?
Yeah, so it is recommended to play on your own, because then you can make sure that all of the information is correct, such as that all of your family members are listed. Some people come in for the interview and they say, "Oh, I played at an internet cafe and it wasn't my fault. I didn't know." That's not an excuse. Unfortunately, we cannot accept that excuse. So that is why it is recommended to play on your own, to make sure that all of the information is correct. However, you are allowed to have someone else play for you if you would like, but that just runs the risk that the information might not be correct. Je peux répondre en français aussi. C'est recommandé de jouer vous-même pour assurer que toutes les informations sont correctes dans votre demande. Mais en même temps, ce n'est pas illégal. Quelqu'un d'autre peut remplir la demande pour vous, mais c'est un peu risqué parce que c'est possible que les informations ne seront pas correctes.
Thank you very much for that answer. So we've had a lot of cases of people saying that they have been scammed through the program. They have sent a lot of money, and there's also been some fraud. So how do they report this kind of emails to us, and what do you advise them to do, Amy?
You can report it directly to us at our email inbox. It's consularyaounde@state.gov. You can find it on our website too. And you can report instances of fraud there. But we are limited in what we can do to fight fraud. You know, our best option is to make sure people are informed of the best way to playing the lottery and of how to not get caught up in the fraud. So you're not a victim. Hopefully you'll listen to what we're talking about today and it won't happen. But if you know of someone who does fall victim to fraud, they can report it to us directly.
Thank you very much, Amy. So we're going to quickly run to the next question. Here, it's a scenario where the person says they played with I see a question from our Facebook internet. She's called Sandra Ayok. She wanted to know, she played with her U.S. citizen children. Is that something that she should have done or not?
Sandra, you did it correctly. Even if your children are U.S. citizens, or if they're citizens of another country that's not a DV lottery country, you still need to include your children on your DV entry. And it will not disqualify you in the future. If you didn't include them, then it could be a problem. So it's good if you included them.
Thank you, Amy. So I have another question from James Haxon. He's asking, because one of the tips that were shared in the video was about the quality of the photo. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to know if he could take a picture with his phone.
I mean, I don't know.
I think it depends on if, because the instructions are clear about the type of pictures, the background that is needed. Mm-hmm. And the way the picture has to be. So if your phone can keep the quality, can keep the requirements, the instructions are shared in the chat box. Please check on how to take a good picture. Yeah. Whatever be the type of equipment they use, I think is fine so far as the picture quality remains the same.
Yeah, and it needs to be a photo that was taken within 6 months of you entering the lottery. It's nice if it has a white background. If it doesn't meet all the requirements, it would be a sad reason to not be able to, get your diversity visa in the end. So make sure if you are taking your photo yourself that you're following the instructions. But I think it's very possible. Good question.
Thank you very much, Amy. So Jeff, do you want to tell us, please, if some people are curious, they want to know, is it the machine that is doing the selection of the DV program, or is it people? What is the criteria for the selection?
It is completely random, the criteria for the selection. That's why it's a very good question, but it is called the DV lottery because it is completely random, so it is just drawn by a computer.
Thank you. Donc, la sélection est vraiment aléatoire. Comme dit loterie, c'est vraiment aléatoire. Il n'y a pas de critères. Le seul critère, c'est que le Cameroun fait partie des pays qui sont éligibles pour le programme de loterie américaine. Mais le choix des personnes en question sont carrément au hasard. C'est pas une machine, c'est pas une personne. Merci Jeff pour cette réponse. Et nous avons une question de Juvenal Kenny de Facebook qu'il demande est-ce que je peux jouer avec un passeport officiel? Un passeport officiel. Je pense qu'on a répondu à cette question parce que pendant les débuts, Amy a répondu que on n'a pas besoin de passeport cette année pour jouer comme les années précédentes. Donc, ça revient. Et nous avons une autre question d'un internaute qui nous demande si ils sont mariés, est-ce que le mari peut jouer et la femme peut jouer? Amy, tu peux répondre, s'il te plaît? Can the woman play and the spouse, the husband play on his own and the spouse play on her own?
Oui. Chaque personne peut faire leur entrée à la loterie, mais ils ont besoin d'inclure tous les membres de leur famille. So yeah, each person can apply separately for the lottery. It doesn't increase or decrease your chances of winning, but you do have to include all members of your family. Again, only members that you're legally related to with a civil marriage, not a traditional marriage.
Thank you very much, Amy. So I have another question, and I think it's in most of the Cameroonians' minds. Sometimes this is the after DV. So when someone has received the DV program visa, does the U.S. government pay all his catering in the U.S. like airfare, housing, employment, and the healthcare and the full settlements in the U.S. for the person?
Good question. So it's a lottery to be able to move to the United States, but that doesn't mean that all of the costs are covered. You still have to pay for your own airplane ticket to the United States. You'll need to be able to arrange, your own housing and pay for your own food. So it's good if you already have contacts to assist you when you arrive to the United States, whether family or friends. And then you'll be responsible for covering all of the costs associated with moving to the U.S. The U.S. government does not pay for those, but the program does give you the opportunity to move to the U.S. and get a green card and live there legally.
Donc, la loterie américaine, comme le dit, c'est un programme qui vous permet de résider permanemment aux États-Unis, mais les frais ne sont pas couverts aux États-Unis par le gouvernement, par l'État américain. Donc, vous êtes en charge de votre billet d'avion, vous êtes en charge de votre logement aux États-Unis et tous les frais que vous aurez besoin étant aux États-Unis si vous avez le visa de la loterie américaine. This next question is addressed to Jeff. Is there a duration from when they play and when they win? How long do they wait for them to get the visa? What's the process after?
So as we mentioned earlier, you will find out if you win in May 2023 by accessing the website. And then after you find out if you win, there will be steps for scheduling an appointment. The appointments for the diversity visa lottery will occur in between October 1st, 2023 and September 30th, 2024. So if you win the lottery, it will be sometime between October 2023 and September 2024. En français, vous allez savoir si vous avez gagné la loterie en mai 2023. Et si vous allez avoir un rendez-vous, le rendez-vous sera entre octobre 2023 et septembre 2024. Et après le rendez-vous, si vous êtes qualifié, vous pouvez recevoir le visa et voyager après, comme vous voulez. Oh,
Merci beaucoup.
yeah, maybe you want to clarify it will be within 6 months of their medical exam. but it will be the interview will be during that time between October 2023 and May 2024.
Merci beaucoup, Jeff. Donc, après avoir gagné, je pense que des instructions claires vous sont données par le bureau de KCC, qui est le bureau chargé de la loterie américaine aux États-Unis. Et quand vous êtes programmé, vous passez à l'ambassade pour votre entretien. Et la durée de votre visa sera liée à la durée de vos rapports médicaux. Merci beaucoup, Jeff, pour cette réponse. Nous avons une autre question de Mildred Ambé. Et elle est en train de demander si elle peut jouer la loterie avec un membre de famille qui n'a pas le bac. Jeff, tu veux prendre cela, s'il te plaît?
Oui. La chose la plus importante, c'est que la personne principale qui joue la loterie a l'éducation ou l'expérience de travail nécessaire. Ce n'est pas requis pour l'époux ou les enfants d'avoir un certain niveau d'éducation ou expérience de travail. C'est seulement pour le joueur principal. And to respond in English, it doesn't matter what the spouse or children's education or work qualifications are. The only thing that matters is that the principal applicant, the one that is playing the lottery themselves, has the necessary work experience or education.
Thank you very much, Jeff. So we have another question from Jules Landry. So he's asking that if his wife is pregnant and the date of the due date is after the lottery season is over, what do they do with their unborn child? How do they proceed?
So as we mentioned earlier, it's a good question. You are allowed to get married and you are allowed to give birth after the lottery. So if the child isn't born yet or you are not married yet at the time of entry, then they are not a legal member of your family yet. So you do not need to play with them. Okay? Si votre enfant n'est pas encore né, ce n'est pas nécessaire de jouer avec, avec l'enfant, ok? C'est permis d'avoir un enfant ou d'avoir un mariage après avoir joué la loterie.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jeff. So we have another very interesting question from Nelvis Fofo. He's one of the 2021 DV lottery winners, and he wanted to know, due to the lockdown, KCC is still programming processing the documentation. He wanted to know what is the status of the 2021 winners. Amy, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I don't have a lot to say yet. We're still waiting for direction from the U.S. government on what steps we can take. But there are certainly quite a few of those that we will be processing. Hopefully we'll have news soon. We don't have any updates yet, though, and we're waiting. But there is still an opportunity for those entrants from 2021 whose numbers were called, that we could still be issuing your visas. So just wait for us a little bit longer, and hopefully there'll be good news soon.
Thank you very much, Amy. Donc ça, c'est pour les gagnants de la loterie de 2021 qui ont été affectés par la COVID-19. Donc le dossier est encore en cours au niveau légal et nous aurons des réponses éventuelles pour vous dès que possible. Donc gardez votre mal en patience. Merci. Nous avons une autre question de Clinton qui nous demande est-ce qu'il va recevoir, je pense qu'on a déjà répondu à cette question, est-ce qu'il va recevoir la réponse, les résultats de la sélection à travers son email?
Non.
Je ne pense pas.
Pas pour email, pas pour le téléphone, votre cellulaire, pas pour SMS. C'est uniquement dans le site web pour la loterie. Vous pouvez utiliser votre numéro de confirmation pour voir si vous allez choisir pour la loterie. So you won't ever get a phone call or an email. No one will call you. No one's sending you a text message. If you get any messages like that, it's a scam. It is not true. You have to go on the website and you have to enter your confirmation number to see if you were selected or not.
Thank you very much, Amy. So we have this very interesting question from Mohammed Arnold. He's asking if his results are positive, like if he wins the DV, but he has a girlfriend, can he get married to her before coming to the embassy? What do you advise him to he does, Jeff?
As we said, it is possible to get married after the diversity visa, but it has to be a real marriage. It has to be a real relationship. So every person's situation is different, but you know, as I was saying before, it is possible to get married after playing the lottery.
You can put a ring on it.
Thank you very much.
As Beyoncé
We will
would
not
say.
Donc,
stop you.
si vous... Ok, great. Donc, si vous avez une petite amie et après les résultats, vous décidez de passer à un autre niveau d'officialisation, vous sentez-vous libre. Mais l'essentiel, c'est que ce soit un mariage légal, un mariage qui a existé et qui est prouvé avant la loterie pour être qualifié.
Oui.
Merci. Donc, nous avons une autre question de Evelyne Djoumache qui nous suit là. Et elle demande si elle joue la loterie, quand elle introduit son numéro, on lui demande d'attendre la réponse. Et depuis, elle attend la réponse. Dans son email, elle n'a pas encore eu la réponse. Pour ceux qui ont joué l'année passée, qu'est-ce qu'elle doit faire?
Elle a gagné la loterie?
Like she's been waiting, she played last year, but she's checking the results. And she's not, they're telling her that she needs to wait to receive an email. What should she do? Is that genuine?
As we were saying, you will not receive an email notification telling you whether or not you have won the lottery. You will need to go to the EDV, the diversity visa website, to know if you have one or not. Comme on a dit, il faudra accéder au site web pour voir les résultats. Vous n'allez pas recevoir un email pour vous notifier si vous avez gagné ou pas.
Okay, we're gonna take a couple of last questions. So there is one from Eric Chia, who is asking that, okay, you're talking about the fact that the results come out in May, but should he keep checking? Like maybe he checks in May and he did not succeed. Should he check in the months ahead? Maybe they're publishing the results progressively. Is that something that happens?
I don't know. It's just all published in May, right? You get to see if you were selected or not and what your rank is. So based on if you have a low number, it's very likely you will get to come in for an interview and have your opportunity to get your visa. If you have a number that is higher than what, I don't know, 60,000, and you'll be able to see this information, then there's a chance there may not be enough visas for you. But yeah, you should still apply. You should still go for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. So I'm just going to emphasize on that because we've had cases where nous avons eu des cas où des personnes ont gagné la loterie, mais ils n'ont pas pu avoir leurs interviews. Ça veut dire que, comme la vidéo a dit au début, gagner la loterie ne garantit pas un visa. Donc, vous pourrez être programmé ou pas. Donc, il y a un nombre bien précis pour le Cameroun qui a été approuvé, qui sera programmé au fur et à mesure, mais il y aura certaines personnes qui n'auront pas d'interview et qui n'auront pas peut-être un numéro de visa. Donc, c'est pas une garantie d'être sélectionné au départ. And I have another question from Emmanuel. He's saying that he wants to know if someone made a mistake while they were doing their first submission, since it's only a one-time chance. What should they do, Jeff? What do you advise them to do?
Well, it depends on the nature of the mistake. So as we said before, the disqualifying mistakes are people not listing the members of their family, or including members of their family that are not legal members of their family. So that can be a disqualifying mistake. But if you spelled your name wrong, or there is an error in your birth date, those are kind of things that we can correct on the date of the interview. But it is important to make sure that all of the information in your application is correct at the time of playing, just to be 100% sure that nothing can disqualify you at the time of the interview. Is that correct, Amy? Or do you have anything to add?
Yeah. I would add too, I mean, if your name is very different than what you entered with, that could disqualify you. If you use photos for maybe you didn't have a photo for all of your children and you used a photo of a different child, or you repeated it one child, you're like, oh, these two, my sons look so much alike, and you use the same photo for both, that could disqualify you. So you do need to try to follow all the rules as much as possible, because even small mistakes, what seem like small mistakes, can be disqualifying.
Okay, we're gonna take two last questions. Jeff, this one is for you. So there's someone who says that he played last year, so he's one of the 2023 winners, but his chargeability country was was sent to Ghana, but he's a Cameroonian. Should he proceed his interview in Ghana, or what do you can he transfer to Cameroon? Those in those cases, what do they generally do?
I think Amy might actually be better placed to answer that question if that's okay.
No, that's good. Yeah, I deal with these quite a lot. So if you are living in Cameroon or if you're Cameroonian, you can request from KCC early on to have your case transferred for processing in Yaounde. But if your case is already further along in the process, let's say in like a year and a half, and you're ready for your visa interview, but they scheduled you for Ghana, you may have to just send an email directly to us here in Yaounde at consularyaounde@state.gov, and you'll request to have your case transferred to Yaounde for processing at our embassy here. And you'll just explain that you're either Cameroonian or you live full-time in Cameroon and you have done so for, more than a week or two. We don't want people coming to Cameroon to do their visa application unless they actually live here and can remain here for the entire period that it takes to process the visa, because it's not always a quick process. It can take many months sometimes, depending on certain factors.
Thank you very much, Amy. So we have this last question before we round up. So when you talk about playing with your children, there's someone who was asking the question, their children are above 18. Do they still qualify to play the DV with them?
Yes. So if your children are under 21 when you enter, you should play the lottery with them and include them on your entry. For U.S. immigration purposes, a child is anyone who is under 21 years old. But if they're over 21 years old, you don't include them. They won't probably be able to go with you to the United States but you do have an opportunity to apply for them once you're in the United States to have them join you. But yeah, for children under 21, if they're under 21 at the time that you play the lottery, they'll still qualify.
Thank you very much, Amy. Donc, tous les enfants, selon la loi d'immigration, qui sont à moins de 21 ans, sont éligibles pour jouer avec les parents. Sinon, ils peuvent en faire des entrées individuelles pour la loterie américaine. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We know that an hour or less than an hour is not enough to answer all the questions. That's why we're sharing the resources with you in the chat box, the full instructions. You can always refer to the DV page. You can always watch this video afterwards. Feel free to email us, the consular Yaounde@state.gov. Email if you have any follow-up questions. We are ready. Our correspondence team is ready to answer you. But I just want to give the word to Jeff if he has the last word, and then next to Amy before we conclude the session.
I just want to say thank you everyone for coming, and just a final reminder on the key tips. The two main points for disqualification are not having the necessary education or work experience, and not including all of the legal members of your family. Okay, so please make sure you do that when you're playing the lottery. Those are the two main reasons for disqualification, and we want to be able to approve as many that come to us as possible. So please make sure you carefully follow the instructions.
Yes, I'll second what Jeff said, that we don't want to see anybody be disqualified for not knowing the rules, or anytime that we see people they pay a lot of money sometimes for all their family to apply for the visas, and then they're out based on the fact that they didn't complete high school or some other qualifying factor. So please review this information again before you play, and send us your questions. We also have information on our website If you have more questions, travel.state.gov is another place that has good information. Any website that ends in .gov is a very good resource for diversity visa information. Other sources may not be good resources, and we do not recommend you follow their instructions.
Thank you very much, Amy. Thank you to our both speakers who took some time to share these tips with us today and clarify the questions around the diversity visa program. Merci beaucoup à nos internautes. Merci de nous avoir rejoints cet après-midi. Si vous avez d'autres questions, n'hésitez pas, écrivez-nous à notre email qui est accessible au public sur notre page. Et également, n'hésitez pas à postuler pour le programme 2024 et à très bientôt. Nous sommes ravis de vous avoir cet après-midi et ciao, ciao. Et à la prochaine. Merci.